Hi, I'm Emily Stavru from Corrigan Corporation. We're the misting people. My grandfather invented the produce misting system found in produce departments around the world. National Produce Misting Day is on October 2nd, and we are celebrating the innovation of keeping fruits and vegetables fresh. Thank you for tuning into the Produce Moms podcast. You can learn more about my story and produce misting in episode 30. Enjoy today's show.
Welcome to the Produce Moms podcast, where we believe there is a produce mom in all of us. I'm Lori Taylor, founder and CEO of the Produce Moms. For 10 years, I sold fresh produce to over 300 grocery stores in the U.S. And today, my team and I are fully focused on inspiring people to eat more fruits and vegetables. This show is just one of the ways that we hope to inspire you and your family to eat more produce and live a better life. If you like what you're hearing on the podcast, join our community of almost 40,000 in all 50 states and over 30 countries by visiting theproducemoms.com/subscribe. And be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. Thanks for being here. Enjoy today's show. Welcome back, everyone. Today on the Produce Moms podcast, we are bringing to you Jessica Peri. She is fourth generation from Peri and Sons. They are one of America's largest onion growers. They are headquartered in Nevada. And they grow really throughout multiple regions in the United States and beyond. And I am so excited to have her on because I'm telling you right now, each and every time I purchase a white onion at the grocery store, it has her name on the sticker. And that just fascinates me. So it's a joy to bring Jessica on the show and learn all about onions today. Jessica, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so excited. So, I'm very sincere when I say, I've been grocery shopping for my family now for, well over a decade. And I truly can't remember buying a white onion that doesn't have your family name on it.
Well, we have been growing white onions for many, many years. It's kind of our flagship item. It's really where we made a name for ourselves in the industry. That's what my dad started with back in 1979.
Jessica, that's amazing. Family farming for 40 years. I'd love for you to share a little bit more about how you actually, found your way to the family farm to work at the level you do today.
Okay. I will tell you that I really had no desire to go to work for the farm early on. So it's always been around. It's always been just there with my dad, hardworking, many hours. If I ever wanted to spend time with my dad, of course, I had to go to work with him in his truck and basically travel around the fields. It wasn't until my sophomore year in college that I had to write a paper on succession planning. And I thought, I've never really thought about what's going to happen to the farm as my dad, as he gets old and if something happens. And when I asked him that question, at the time, he didn't have a succession plan. And he said, well, I guess at the time we'll just sell it. And truthfully, what happened is that really scared me. And I thought, this is our family farm. I can't let that happen. And so I asked him if I could go to work for him. I was already studying business. I knew I wanted to be in business and I had an emphasis on marketing. So I thought, okay, I can help you, maybe market your onions. And so that's pretty much what I did. I graduated college. I was living in Las Vegas, a big city, and moved to little town of Yerington, Nevada, 5,000 people. It was quite a shocker, but that's where it all started. And I just dug in and started sales right away, really evaluated our customer base. And I knew that we had these wonderful, beautiful onions that were not going directly from our farm to the retail. So I had a one-track mind of just really kind of closing the gap and getting our products directly from our farms to retail. And we've been very successful in doing so. We have an amazing team of people that have helped orchestrate everything, and just so proud of what we've been able to accomplish.
You should be. I'm proud too. Every time I see that sticker on the onions at the grocery store when I'm shopping. So it's thank you for sharing that. What a story.
Thank you.
For our listeners tuning in today, I'm convinced that onions are one of those items where it's in everyone's home. It's in every restaurant. It's, every chef or everyone who gets a recipe from grandma, like onions are part of it, you know? And so let's talk a little bit more about the commodity. And then also, if you're comfortable, I mean, because I know, Jessica, that Peri and Sons grows more than white onions. I mean, you're the experts in the entire onion category. So let's share a little bit more with our listeners today. White onion versus a red onion versus a yellow onion versus a sweet onion. I mean, what are the different characteristics for all of these different varieties?
Well, an onion is not just an onion. And so when we're talking about white onions specifically, I truly believe that it's an untapped market. You mentioned when you get a recipe from your grandmother, it calls for an onion. And a lot of people don't know what to use, and they might go for the yellow onion because that's traditionally maybe what their grandma used or maybe what their parents used. And they don't know anything different than using a yellow. But the whites are truly an untapped market. And I'm telling you what, they cook so much better than a yellow. They don't have a bitter taste. They have no off color. They maintain a crispy texture, and they aren't always necessarily given a fair shot on the shelf. I think there's a lot of opportunity to help consumers get out of palate fatigue and kind of spice up some of their favorite recipes by using a white onion. It's not that yellow onions are terrible. They're just different. And there is a clear distinction when you cook both of them. A lot of times red onions in the summertime, they're going to be more mild and you're able to use them in salads and fresh. Whereas in the fall and winter, they're a storage onion and they're going to be a lot more bitter and a lot more pungent. Mm-hmm. And consumers, it's hard for them to know the difference between seasons because seasonally, onions do have different characteristics. We've seen sweet onions, in particular, just explode as far as markets and popularity, but not everybody is looking for a mild onion. A lot of people still want to cook with an onion, and when you can cook with a sweet onion, but you're never going to get that flavor that you need to out of a dish if you're cooking with something that is more mild.
Right.
So there's different... We have such a great opportunity to educate people.
I agree with you. And, I know that you're familiar with my background, Jessica, where I sat at the sales desk at Indianapolis Fruit Company and sold fresh produce, for 10 years to over 300 grocery stores. And, there's one demographic in particular from the stores that I took care of. If the store catered to a large Mexican population, or if the store was a straight up, like Mexican bodega grocery store, the only onion they were interested in was the white onion.
You're exactly right. It's very popular in a lot of Hispanic cuisine, as well as European. It's very popular in Spain and Italy. And these are all types of foods that have a lot of flavor. So if people are craving a lot of flavor, you're going to want to use a white onion.
Right. So for anyone listening that's making a homemade sauce for their pasta or a homemade salsa for their enchiladas, grab that white onion. I'm telling you, it's what all of those cultural stores that I took care of at the sales desk, that was the variety that they wanted. I'm with Jessica. They're all onions are good. There's a reason for all of them. And, Peri and Sons, like I said, they grow them all. But the white onion, I totally agree, which is one reason I shared that in my opening remarks. I agree that it's a variety that a lot of folks they just overlook. When I serve it in my own home, people are like, oh, I heard those are strong. And it's actually quite the opposite. It's a nice, mild onion that really it's easy to cut. It doesn't bring the tears on for me, at least. And then, from a flavor perspective, it's just the nice, mild onion flavor.
Well, great. I'm glad that you're buying the white onions. We also grow yellow, so it's a little bit different. I personally am a white onion fan due to the fact that, they're easier to cut. They are still a pungent onion. They're not, it's not sweet, and you definitely probably want to use them for cooking. But it doesn't get the shelf space it deserves, and so I think that many people just walk by it because maybe yellow or sweet onions get most of the shelf space.
Right.
And bottom line, if the display isn't as large, then it's easier to get overlooked.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 100%. Merchandising is a huge catalyst for sales in the produce department or in any retail space. So let's talk a little bit. You mentioned that your dad was instrumental in getting Peri and Sons, positioned as the white onion leader. So talk a little bit more about the history of your family farm, Peri and Sons, and this is a special time for you all, celebrating a special anniversary. So share with our listeners what's going on with Peri and Sons today and where you all came from.
Yes, very excited. We're celebrating our 40th anniversary, and that's just when my dad started in 1979, when he moved, about 50 miles southeast of where he grew up. He was looking for more land and more water to grow larger acreage than the farm that he had grown up on as a kid. Now, my great-grandparents, they had settled, they're from Italy, and they had settled in northern Nevada and bought a ranch outside of Reno. In the early, I would say in the late 1920s or 1930s, and they stayed. My grandfather stayed on the same ranch his entire life, living next door to his twin brother, and we're just a family of farmers. Now, my grandfather, he also raised vegetables and livestock, and my dad just raises vegetables.
Okay, great. No, it's exciting. And so it's going to be a great year, 40th anniversary. I want to make sure that everyone knows there's a new website where you can go to learn more about the white onions specifically. It's psfwhiteonions.com. So Peri and Sons Farms is what that PSF stands for, psfwhiteonions.com. You learn more about the white onion specifically, different ways to use it, history about the Peri family, and then of course Peri and Sons website's available too. And we have the pleasure at the Produce Moms of working with Peri and Sons in a brand partnership, so we also support a lot of their messaging and promotions through what we do at theproducemoms.com. One thing that I'm really excited about, and I know it's had so much buzz. I mean, I think it's even actually been featured on BuzzFeed and other very popular media sites, is Sunions. So tell our listeners some more about Sunions and why everyone at Peri and Sons is so excited about this.
Yes, Sunions is one of the most unique onions I have ever come across because of its features and its characteristics. When you cut it, it's tearless. So unlike, we were talking about a white onion or a yellow onion where it might bring tears to your eyes when you're cutting it. Sunions, none whatsoever. But it's not always like that. So once it's harvested and you cut the onion, it is more pungent. But after it sits in storage for a couple of months, that's when it reaches its optimal tearlessness and sweetness. So it's a tearless onion and a sweet onion.
Yeah, it's exciting. And this is going to be the second year that they've been available to consumers, second or third year? I mean, it's a relatively new product.
So let's see. So 3 years ago, we trialed the onion. So this will be the third year going to market with the variety.
Great. And I don't know if you know this, Jessica, but way back in the archives on our Facebook Lives, there was a Sunion episode. I think it was episode 2 or 3. And we're on episode 60 something now on the Facebook Live series. So for anyone wanting to see Sunions in action and see what they look like and how they truly are a tearless onion, definitely look at our Facebook Live archives. They're on YouTube. They're also on Facebook. So really, really fun. And then obviously Sunions has a great social media and digital presence as well for you to connect with. One thing too, Jessica, as we talk about all your family has accomplished. I mean, 40 years of farming as family farmers is no joke. I mean, that's a huge milestone. It's been an incredible amount of effort and, succession from your dad, and, now you're stepping into a leadership role. And let's talk a little bit more about sustainability, because you wouldn't be in business today if you weren't operating with sustainability at top of mind. And sustainability is one of those topics. I mean, we get a lot of consumer inquiry about it at the Produce Moms. And it's, it definitely is it's more than recycling. So tell us about how you at Peri and Sons Farms are keeping sustainability top of mind in all that you do.
Sustainability really encompasses more than just your farming practices. It also includes labor and the way that we treat our employees. And we're really proud of what we have accomplished and being sustainably certified since 2016.
Well, I'm really proud of everything that you do at Peri and Sons. I'm thankful that you took the time to come on the show today and share a little bit more with all of our listeners on what Peri and Sons stands for, as well as the amazing white onion that I have fond memories of selling at the sales desk and also often use in my home. It's a total staple here in my house. So it's great to work with you all and work in a brand partnership with Peri and Sons. It's great to showcase you today. But before we, say our final goodbye to our listeners, I'm going to throw the mic back to you, Jessica. I'd like you to make sure and share, where people can go to learn more, share your website, and then also any closing remarks you might have. But thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. And you can always find out more information on our website, which is www.perryandsons.com, PERIANDSONS. You can also find us professionally on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're out there to connect with as many consumers and people that are hungry for more information. And if you find our products in stores, you'll find a lot of information listed on our packaging as well. And I want to say thank you to all of our loyal customers and consumers that are enjoying our organic and conventional onions. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Produce Moms Podcast. If you or someone you know would like to be a featured guest, just send an email to Lori@theproducemoms.com. We know there is a produce mom in you because there's a produce mom in all of us. Join our community on Facebook and all social platforms. Help us change the way America eats. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.